aka Geeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to aka Geeks. This is our The Walking Dead review. I'm Sean. With me I have Lynn.
What's up, everybody?
And today's episode that we will be reviewing is titled The Key. This is episode 12 of season 8. And let me read a little blurb about the episode. Hilltop's leadership faces a difficult dilemma after the arrival of unexpected visitors. Rick comes face to face with an adversary. All right, where do you want to start with this? You want to start on the big stuff?
Yeah, let's start with the big stuff, and then we can get to whatever little things that we nitpick the smaller things as we go, like usual.
Right. So today, with this episode, or not today, but Sunday with this episode, we got round 2 of Rick versus Negan.
Can you really call it round 2 though, considering this is the first time they're actually?
It's another cock tease, essentially.
Yeah.
What did you think of that whole? What did you think of the fight? Let's start with the fight. What did you think of the fight?
It was. All right. It's like the Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas fight. Because back then it was all about the hype, and then it was just like. That's how it was. It was just completely deflating. So, because I got really souped up when they were like within inches of each other, and Rick throws the hatchet, and I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. And
I gotta say, that hatchet throw was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, then.
Yeah. I wanted more from this, of course.
Yes.
We all did. We've said it before. We want these key moments that we know from the book to kind of start playing out. But I think this is just, again, another cock tease. They're just teasing us, trying to build up the anticipation. They do this too much, though. We're going to get to the point where it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
There was some good stuff. The axe throw was good. I liked when he finally got his hands on Lucille.
The flaming Lucille.
He put her on fire, and then you could see, Negan, the anguish in his face and voice, "Don't you touch her!" And it was, I liked that stuff, but the fight as a whole, disregarding the words, the dialogue that they talk about, just the fight, it didn't live up to expectations, of course.
No. And then the way they cop out of that, suddenly out of nowhere, he's just up and gone. And at first, I thought he got up and left on his own free will. It seems like that wasn't the case, obviously. Because we had the major junk pile queen, Janice, come back and get him.
Janice came over here and must have abducted him when he just got out the window or something, knocked him out, put him in the car. What about the stuff that was going on when they were talking to each other? You see Negan continue on with this whole thing of trying to mentally break Rick.
Yeah, he's doing the whole blame game. Look, this is all on you. All you had to do was follow the rules. I could have given you everything. You just had to work with me. In other words, it's not my fault. It's never my fault. Pure politician more so than the governor was, if you think about it, as far as his mindset, because he's like, none of this is my fault. You could have just followed in line and things would have been great.
I really wish at one point somebody would say, "You're forcing us to fall in line with violence." And I wish somebody would just tell him, look, you are not saving anybody. Break it down to him, literally repeat to him. Break it down to Negan's face and see what he says. Like a normal person would.
Well, but this is, at this point, everybody's. It's like you're poking a tiger in a cage, and you're poking him, and you're poking him, and suddenly the tiger's going, you know what? I'm done, and I'm gonna swipe my paw and rip you open, and that's where Rick and the others are right now. They're that tiger swinging the paw.
The tiger's not gonna tell you why it hits you.
Yeah, it's just gonna hit you.
It's gonna hit you. But at this point, though, we're people and they have words, and I really wish at one point Rick would have said, "Saving, you wouldn't have saved us. You're forcing us under your thumb with violence." You know what I mean? Something along those lines. I really wish that somebody would appeal to Negan and say, "Dude, you got it all backwards, man." Somebody, but it didn't happen. What'd you think about when Negan finds out about Jadis and the garbage people, the heaps?
First of all, I'm like, yeah, finally. I expected this. I expected Rick to tell him sooner or later. I figured it had to be Rick. Perfect time was this, but it cheapened, because I think that saying that and taking that time to say that is what cheapened the fight as well, because it sort of took the gas out of the fire.
It's like focusing on too many things.
Yeah.
Too many fires, not enough gas.
Mm-hmm.
You got him blaming Rick for Carl. Then you got the whole Heapsters thing, and then you have the Lucille and actually fighting thing. Then you got the "you're crazy" thing. It's like so many things going on instead of like just the pure hatred or like going out to get each other.
Yeah.
So what about so that's let's go back to the points where we were talking about last week that led up to this fight, where you see Simon getting the gang to go, you know, and but also before that is Negan actually talking to Dwight, and we're kind of trying to read Negan here. Did you think do you think that Negan knows what happened with Dwight?
I think Negan has a suspicion, and but at the same time, Negan uses that he wants to see if Dwight's still scared of him. So he was like, if you'll notice the way he was talking to him, he was up in his face, and he was trying to read to see, to see his like, am I still got a little bit of leverage over you? You know, that's the whole mannerisms I got from Negan. So I'm like, he was definitely looking to see if he's still his boy. So that was that whole conversation for.
And Dwight's playing it off really well.
Yeah.
And then the next part, they actually decide to go out to Hilltop to do the thing that you've been waiting for a long time. The thing that a lot of people have been is battle and make people the infected battle.
Yeah.
And but that got shortcut by Rick running into Negan. The whole all the stuff that happened there with Dwight and Simon was really interesting. I think it was interesting to see where it would go. Like, would Dwight break character? Is Dwight going to reveal his cards, or just kind of go with Simon, or totally deny him? You know,
I thought that whole incident, it made sense because you wanted to see Simon's play on things, and this is Simon bringing himself out to the open. But at the same time, to me, it cheapens Dwight's character, because like, okay, now you're flip-flopping. You're not really on Negan's side because you just want it to be done with. But at the same time, you're not really feeling Simon either, because you know he's coming off to you. And you can tell by his actions that he looked at Simon like, you could be just as bad.
Yeah, and it's kind of like...
And he's like water. He's just going flowing with the motion until, he hits a...
I get what you're saying, but I do think that he's doing that with the purpose of trying to get back to, the people from the Hilltop and Alexandria and the Kingdom, and trying to help them finish this.
Yeah.
I still think he's totally on that choice, but yeah, Simon does look like if Simon takes over, he's going to be worse.
Yeah,
because he already killed the Heapsters on his word, and now he wants to kill everybody else.
Right.
So it was interesting. Simon's starting to break, it seems, right?
Oh, I think he broke. I think he's been broken when he got the news from his people. Oh. That they were his people. I think he's been broken since back then, and it's just been building, and then the fact that Negan was saying, "No, you doing what I said," and that's it. When he was telling him, "No, we should be doing. Who's in charge here?" So little by little, it's just been creeping forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that when they said those are my people that are dying there, that was when it was that point where he went over the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Straw. Okay, so let's go over to the Hilltop now. So the Hilltop, we have Maggie still trying to weigh things, still trying to deal with things. You got Enid still dealing with the loss of Carl, being very emotional and being very much a young teenager.
She was being a little bitch. Let's just call it, she was being a little bitch.
Then Rosita and Michonne are there as well. They see something in the distance. It looks like a crate, and they want music. And It was just music, and was there anything else or just music? I think
Just
it was
music. They just wanted records as long as it was not spoken word.
Yeah, just music and they said music and food. Music and food in the 4 crates, and you'll get the key to the future.
Yeah.
So this interests them very much so, and this is continuing to play on Maggie's, which way she's going, being brutal and only caring about numero uno, or is she gonna continue what Carl was doing beforehand? Michonne is on the Carl truck. Enid's on the be brutal, care about number 1 only.
There's a lot of conversations prior to them even getting these crates or seeing any of this information where Enid was in a conversation where 2 grown adults were talking, and I think back to when Carl was young, like the first couple seasons, and Carl kept getting in the midst of adults, and everybody was like, well, Carl needs to listen to his father, blah blah blah. Right now, this is where Enid's got me. You're young, yeah, but she's Carl from 5 years ago, and I'm like, girl, you need to shut up and listen to your elders, because just because you got a gun at your side, you don't know shit. This is not the way of the world. So, and that's why I was grateful when Michonne took her gun away. Like, are you kidding me? I see which way you're going.
It built up to that, and Michonne saw that she's being super emotional. She's a teenager. She has a gun. We're in a world right now where people kill people, and so yeah, Michonne had to do what she had to do. Georgie and the twins. What'd you think about them?
Interesting, considering that they're not something I'm familiar with. I don't know where they're going with this, because it's nothing I've come across yet.
They stated that they're not from the comic.
No.
I was reading an article today that was it today or yesterday? I was reading an article that said that Georgie very much resembles the leader of this town from Ohio in the comics.
Yeah, so it's part of the New World Order storyline that's going on at the moment.
It's Pamela or
but,
Patty.
But Patty's the one who has the first. Remember when I mentioned to you about the radio? Mm-hmm. Well, in the books, Eugene fixes a radio, and he's trying to send messages back and forth. This is why I thought of foreshadowing when they showed the radio room in in the cabin, where I thought Eugene was going to start talking, and then suddenly out of nowhere he's going to hear, a response back, a female voice. So I'm wondering if they skipped all that, but they still foreshadowed the radio, like say, hey, look, this is a bit of this, and how we're going to get to this without even going through that route, because we have the characters in different places right now. So
dialogue and exposition.
Right. So it's a different way, and different people meeting these said characters. So I could see that it could be a play on that storyline as far as the start of it. But I don't know. I have to wait and see a little bit more, because I'm a good portion into that story, the New World Order, where it's possibly Michonne's kids are alive. So
okay, well I'm not there yet. So
well, that's not something spoilerific. It's just how they get to this type of information.
So when they go to Georgie, they kind of they cross their T's and dot their I's to make sure they're not being ambushed as well. So they essentially ambush Georgie and the twins, bring them back to the hilltop, and then the debate happens, which you mentioned earlier, where Michonne takes the gun from Enid because she's getting really emotional and volatile. But the debate happens. Are you happy with where Maggie goes with what she decides?
Yeah,
because it's been down the last few episodes.
But this is what you would hope from Maggie. Is Maggie's right now not thinking for herself, and she wants her people to have food. And here's these people who seem pretty much straightforward and not, wanting anything major in return. And she's asking the right questions, and she's like, okay, this is a benefit all the way around. So this can't really hurt us too much.
And Michonne helped reiterate big time, I feel.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been. I don't think it would have gone that way without Michonne reiterating what Carl was doing when he died. He was helping somebody, and and that was what the big thing I think pushed Maggie over the top in that direction.
Yeah.
Which I'm just happy that she went that way. Like the people with the prisoners they have there on grounds, those are different. This is a random new person, and I really want them to go back to almost a sense of like, we're not going to be like Seaside and just kill everybody on first sight. You know, I don't want them to be that way.
Yeah.
Because we want them to be the good guys, right? I mean, if they kill everybody shot on sight.
Well, what we want would be how we expect them or how we know them for. You know what I mean? How we know the characters to be. And we don't want them to take that dark turn, but at the same time, we know sooner or later there has to be that difficult choice where, yeah, sometimes you have to do a little bit wrong too. So I get that.
To survive in this world, yes.
Yeah.
I like what she did. I'm happy with that choice.
I wasn't really worried about Maggie staying in that dark mode too long.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she's still, for us, it's been a few years, but it's only been like, what, maybe 2-3 months since she lost her husband. So,
yeah, two months maybe.
I'm guessing. So this is a woman still in mourning. Then on top of that, she's in charge of a group of people, and then on top of that, she's got to worry about being attacked by a group of idiots. Then on top of that, she's got to take care of this teenage daughter out of nowhere while being pregnant, while still mourning, and now she's got to mourn Carl as well, who she's known for a good chunk of his teenage life until he passed. Yeah. So there's a lot of feelings that she's like not being able to sit down and like let it all go.
You're not able to unpack them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I think we're still gonna be on that tightrope of dark and light with her when it comes to the prisoners. And yes, there are those moments where we might have to face some of the good guys doing some bad things.
Yeah.
I like it when that happens, though, to be honest with you, because then it adds that ambiguity of where the episode's going to go or the season's going to go.
But if you notice, they mirrored that. At least with the way I saw it, her character switching lighter, and where with Rick instead of standing his watch and get ready to honk the horn when the saviors were coming, instead he refused to honk his horn to let everybody else know and take it upon himself to react and go after Negan. So it's like
dark.
We got one coming out of the darkness into the light, and then the other one just slipping further away, who's at the same time grieving, hasn't really been able to express himself fully. And it wasn't until the end when he gets back to the hilltop that it looks like they brought Carl back. Hence
then he has the bromance.
Yeah, with Daryl. So
what do you think of that?
I expected that to be a little bit more of a bigger focus, but it was fine the way it was. It was they got each other's back, so they didn't on too much. Yeah, so it was nice. It suited its purpose. It got its point across. So I was okay with that.
I was happy that Daryl got some lines. You know that Norman Reedus got some lines. He hasn't had many lines over this last season and a half. It's nice to hear from his perspective, because those episodes where we dive into him a little bit and to see who his character is, like the episode with what's her name, Emily, or what's her real name? Her real name's Emily. I forget what her name is in the show, but the sister of
Maggie?
God, Maggie's sister. What's her name?
What the hell? Why can't I think of it? Well, anyway, yeah, but that was two seasons ago.
Like 3 almost, probably. But that episode was really good. We got to actually see his character. So I like seeing some of his character. I like seeing some dialogue.
Yeah, but he's been broken since then. And this is another guy that has not even... Everybody's on the same wave page. Everybody's gone through some shit, and they have not been able to just sit for a moment and like really lay their shit on the table so that way they can get over it. Yeah, Daryl's been locked in a box.
Well, but other people still get dialogue, is what I'm saying. I'm saying I want to see more dialogue because I want to see where his character is coming from with what they should do. It seems that now he and Rick are back on the same page of we need to look out for number 1.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting how that works, considering that Maggie's not looking for number 1. Maggie's looking for a broader picture, and how that's going to pertaining to Rick's way of thinking.
I have a feeling that Maggie is going to Maggie and Michonne are both going to try to work to get Rick back to where he was before Carl died.
Yeah.
About looking towards the future. I think that's going to be the main focal point that they're going to get back to. Is that everything from this episode? It was a lot of the stuff from the hilltop. Stuff with Rick and Negan. We saw Naked Walker.
Yeah, well.
That was whatever.
Yeah. I'm not looking at episodes of The Walking Dead to find naked walkers. I could care less. I didn't even know that was a thing.
What did you think of this episode versus last week's episode?
It had a possibility of stopping that slow momentum, but I don't think it was enough. I still think that, considering we're heading into episode 13 now, and I'm like, come on, guys. What the hell? And you tease me with something that could be a pinnacle to start that ball rolling with the fight between Negan and Rick, and you just leave it unsettled. I'm like,
they're really trying to tease us with that, and I really wish the Walking Dead showrunners would understand that just teasing nonstop doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to get good ratings.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that. They gotta at one point just go down a certain path and stop teasing. Sometimes stories just need to tell a story instead of trying to trick us something. So
not only that, it's like I think you could finish off little bits of certain parts of the story while continuing on moving forward, while giving the characters time to progress and grow. Because to be honest, I don't think anybody's grown as a character.
In this season? No.
Yeah, outside of Carl, who died. He was the only one who showed any type of growth. They didn't do much focus on Carol. Daryl's been hush-hush.
Morgan's been crazy.
Yeah, Morgan's loopy. He flip-flopping between sanity and, outright fighting. So everybody's pretty much a carbon copy of one another to certain extents.
And that's kind of what I was saying a couple episodes ago, if you remember.
Yeah.
I was saying that some of the characters are almost sounding alike, and like it's one voice. That's the writer is not writing dialogue specific to the character's traits.
Right. It's all a blur of like one individual thought, and not and that's stopping the characters from progressing as it was like when they first started with the show.
They've been having moments where I said previously that there are moments where I was saying it for like Michonne in that episode when I brought it up. There are moments where you definitely hear the character's voice, but they are few and far between this last season. They've been few and far between. We need more and more of those. We need more of those. Then you start wrapping up some of these storylines. We have 4 episodes left, and that way also when we get to the final actually big war, if it ever does happen, we actually get the war and it focuses on that and not focuses on trying to close 5 storylines.
Yeah.
So, what are you looking forward to next week?
Just a little bit more momentum. I'm tired. I'm tired of this slowness, and tired of so it looks like we're giving you this. This is about to happen, and then suddenly you drop the ball. Because that's what I felt. I loved the scenery and the fight for Negan and Rick as far as the setup, but the payoff, there was none.
Yeah.
And then what I'd like to see is what Jadis's full intention is, because I doubt she's going to Saviors with Negan.
No, I don't think so either. Otherwise, I don't know. I would hope that that Rick and them are the good people after what has happened. That they're the good people. Yeah, they left her alone, but they only did that because what she's done. And she needs to realize, like, the error of her ways, and say, you know what, Rick and them are the good people. Negan's the bad.
I don't think this next episode's going to show that. I think, and I think the Crusher is going to play an impact into the next episode.
Yeah. Next week's episode is called "Do Not Send Us Astray." Here is what they wrote about it on IMDb. Trouble arises when unexpected visitors arrive at the hilltop and the community is thrust into action. Heartbreaking discoveries are made. So they showed us a teaser, and essentially the hilltop, their watchouts see them coming, so there's notifications happening. You see Maggie making a signal to big funny dude Jerry, and some other stuff like that. I'm looking forward to seeing some action. Do you think that they're changing the location of that final battle from the sanctuary where the saviors are at to the hilltop where the good people are?
Which sort of kind of sucks, because as you and I know, when that battle happens in the books, Rick and everybody had to get on the run, locked in the sanctuary and what have you, and so this was their way of getting back at them. Well, actually, it doesn't happen at the hilltop, it happens at Alexandria. Well, because when Negan shoots Rick with the arrow, I mean, I should say...
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do you think... I'm talking about the end battle, where the end battle happens at Sanctuary. Do you think they're, in the TV show, they're switching it from Sanctuary to Hilltop?
I don't know. I think they're going to drag this over. I don't think this is going to end as much as we want it to be.
Yeah.
And I think... I'm at this funny suspicion that they're going to do to us like they did when they first introduced Negan and make us wait.
So they're going to go 4 episodes, what's left in the season, and season 9 with the end of the war.
Yeah.
Which we both thought would be done by halfway through this season.
Which is what we expected because of the flashbacks that we were seeing that ended up being nothing but Carl's dream.
7, yeah. They gotta pick a path and start closing up some of these storylines.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're gonna have a mess in one episode at the end.
Yeah, and this goes back to that, and I want to bring up the Carl's dream when he sees Rick with the beard and all that. In his dreams, I would love for them to explain to me why Carl sees Rick with a cane in hand and a limp, if there's none of that happening. Yeah.
That was them manufacturing the dream as the creators of this season, and saying like, hey, we're teasing you, we're super teasing you, making you think it's what the future is because you read the comics. It's a super tease.
I get that. That I get. But the thing is, as you're thinking of the character, why would the character think of his father in this situation?
And if it was like, if it's something where, oh, it's just because he's gotten older, well then why is Judith only like 4 years old?
Yeah.
Like literally, like right now, they're showing her being held and stuff like a 2-year-old. Like she's a toddler. But they in that future scene, she was only 4 years old.
No, she was a little older. She looked like she was 6 or 7.
Let's say 5. I'm gonna say 5.
Because she looks right now about 3 or 4 years old.
She looks at least 2, probably 3. As
because she's able to walk. She has some understanding of language. So I'm saying between 3 and 4, close to pre-K.
Fine motor skills. If you ever watch her, she's doing things with like fine motor skills.
Yeah, which is,
and she's bigger than a 2-year-old, so
she's past the 2-year-old mark.
Yeah, and so they got to start. I get what you're saying about the whole dream sequence, and it's like they were totally trying to super tease us with the comic book with what we know.
Yeah.
But it was like it doesn't fit in the long scheme of things, because it's, why would Carl think, like you said,
right,
Rick is hurt? So from where we're at right here, Jadis, we want to see what happens with Jadis. We want to see some momentum happen. We want to see them. I want to see them start closing up some storylines, some of the smaller storylines.
Yeah, let's kick this into overdrive, especially with these last 4 episodes coming, man.
Yeah. So, last 4 episodes. Stay tuned for future episodes of this. Stay tuned for the podcast. Lynn, anything you want to say?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
Yeah. Just say goodbye then.
Goodbye, then.
Yeah, stay tuned for the podcast on Thursday. That might be at an earlier time than usual, due to my schedule. But we'll see if we could work it out.
We'll get it done.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, you guys. Join us again next week for next week's episode. Still gotta mean something of The Walking Dead. And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
aka Geeks.